another great place in my truck camper. This is a free camping site around Nordegg, Alberta, and it's a lovely place. I actually came here probably in June, and I didn't film anything because I was hanging out with some friends, but super awesome place. So in today's video, we're going to talk about what size of truck camper do you actually need? Now, this is going to vary for a lot of people. There's nothing wrong with going with a smaller size truck camper. There's nothing wrong with going with a massive truck camper. And this could come down to any sort of rig. From someone just wanting to do a pickup truck with a canopy on the back to someone wanting to do a full motorhome. Like massive class, what is that, C? A? I don't know. One of those massive like bus type ones. Or if you just want to do a custom bus build, that's cool too. So let's talk about smaller rigs first. The type of person looking for a smaller rig is probably someone moving from tent camping or just wanting to step things up, but have something a bit more economical, not as bad on fuel. So you're looking at like your pop-up truck campers or anything that's under like 1,500 pounds or something for a half ton. Hearing weird things out here. It's probably just Bigfoot. That's all right. Me and him buds. So if you're a person that likes to do a lot of off-roading, get to places that are like more remote, and probably you don't want to take something that goes on the back of a 5500 series pickup truck, then you're going to be looking at something like a half-ton camper. Now, with that being said, yes, a half-ton will haul that half-ton camper, no problem whatsoever. I would also suggest, even if you're looking at something that's like a four-wheel camper that's like a pop-up style, I would still say get at least a 3/4 ton truck. And my reasoning behind that is the parts are heavier duty on a 3/4 ton truck, and they're going to take those rough roads a lot better. I know there's a lot of guys that swear by the Tacomas and the Tundras, but man, I gotta say, like, they do still break. Those half tons are great off-road when they're empty. You max out their payload and all of a sudden they're not so great. So definitely get more truck than you think you need. Even a 1-ton truck with one of those, you're gonna be laughing at everything. And not to mention, if you get a bigger truck and down the road you wanna go to a bigger camper, you're already got the truck. So that's my suggestion. You can't go wrong with going with a bigger truck than you need. And if you're someone looking for something for off-roading, then a lighter camper is going to do you a lot better. It's going to be smaller. It's going to get down these tighter trails better. And if it's a pop-up, you're going to be able to get everywhere that you did before, most likely. So this next one's going to be talking about your smaller truck campers, but hard-sided. A smaller truck camper that is hard-sided is going to be easier to heat than a larger truck camper. It's going to use less fuel for heating it, and you're going to be able to go out longer with that. It's also going to have obviously less space to heat, so yeah, it's not going to be bad. A pop-up can be easy to heat too, I guess, but I would say it'd be harder to keep the heat in there as you do have a canvas going around the entire thing, and well, obviously the insulation is not as good as a hard-sided truck camper. Look, guys, a little birdie here. Where'd it go? Ah, there you are. Ah, I know, I'm a child inside. So I guess my next pro with going with a smaller truck camper would have to be less features. And you're like, Kevin, why is that a pro? Well, it's kind of less things to go wrong, less things to worry about. You don't have like a massive water system to have to hope that lines don't break or anything like that, or try to keep lines warm in winter, or having to deal with like a black tank or anything like that. Like, you just, it's a lot simpler. There's a lot less things. They'll sit in your truck easier. Some even actually have tie downs, so you don't have to go out and get an actual tie down system. They just actually tie down inside the box of your truck. That actually saves you quite a bit of money because the tie down system for a truck is not cheap. It can go anywhere from like $1,000 to $1,500 just for the tie down system. So that's another thing to look out for. And now this kind of goes back to my first point, but you can get away with a smaller truck with a smaller truck camper. Do I recommend that? Not really. Even if you're only looking at small truck campers, I'd say minimum 3/4 ton truck, especially if you're thinking of going anywhere down like gravel roads or anything. It's just going to take them a lot better. Not saying a 1/2 ton can't do it, but having a 3/4 ton truck going down those roads is going to be better. Having a smaller truck though, like a 1/2 ton, you most likely will get an engine that does get better fuel mileage. But at that point, with a camper on the back, are you really that concerned about fuel mileage? I usually am. That's why I went with a diesel truck in a 3/4 ton fashion. And I have heard people say that with their pop-ups, they've gotten like upwards of 16 miles per gallon with a 1/2 ton. So maybe it is possible. I don't know. I haven't had one that small before. The smallest truck camper I did own was a 900-pound Cascade truck camper. It was a hard-sided. I'll put a picture of it right now. It was bare bones, nothing in it. And the best I could do was 14 miles per gallon with it. I don't know, it's a toss-up. Seeing that like my truck camper now, the best I can do in it is 14 miles per gallon. So I don't know, it's up to you. Like I said, I would advise go to a 3/4 ton minimum, but a bigger truck is always better for truck campers. Which brings me to my next point. Let's talk about the bigger truck campers. What makes them awesome? So my truck camper, I would definitely call a medium-sized truck camper, maybe on the bigger side, but still a medium, as it has no slides and the weight is still under 3,000 pounds at only 2,400 pounds. Oh, it's cold out here, you guys. Now, when I started looking at truck campers, I wanted something small. I actually wanted a pop-up. I bought this truck, and then the first truck camper I found was 900 pounds, and I thought, well, that'll work too. So I went with that, and it actually worked out better because I use mine mostly for ski resorts and everything, and camping out so I can go snowboarding the next day. I don't have to pay hotel room prices. Well, back then I did. Now I actually live in the thing, so it's a little different. As I progressed on though, I definitely wanted bigger and bigger, and that has gotten me to this now, and it has been probably my best choice is getting a bigger truck camper. What made it better though? Let's talk about it. So the first obvious thing about going with a bigger truck camper is the abundance of room. You get a lot more room inside a bigger truck camper. If you have a family of like 4 or something like that, a truck camper of this size will work for you. It will be good. Now, having that more space and everything, I think that comes down to me living in it now. If I was still just going as a weekend warrior, going to ski resorts and then camping there, my first truck camper actually was fine, but my second one was better. My second one was a Northern Light 9.6, and it had a good amount of space inside. 2 people, very comfortable in there. So having that extra space is like, after a day of snowboarding and it's kind of, you don't have anything else you want to do outside or anything, you kind of just want to sit in the camper and bum around for the day because you're tired. Having that extra space is really nice for that. 2 people can be in the kitchen cooking and everything. Like, just having that extra space is nice. And this brings me to my next one. Let's talk about bathrooms. So in the spirit of extra space, having a bathroom is absolutely, positively wonderful. Especially if you have a significant other. Yes, the smaller truck campers can have bathrooms, but it's very rare that they'll have a separate bathroom. So someone has to get out, or you have to really love each other. I would say my second one, once we had a bathroom, that was such a game changer. And especially after a day of snowboarding, being able to hop into the shower after, and it was a game changer. Having a bathroom is absolutely awesome. I don't think I could go without it again. If I did, I'd probably go to a lot smaller setup so I could have more off-road capability. And when I say smaller, like a truck topper type thing. But seeing that I live in this, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Now, I think the next thing to talk about is with a bigger truck camper, you get more features. So awnings, air conditioners, stuff like that. I mean, smaller ones you can get air conditioners too, but you're not going to see it on as many. Definitely stuff like a bigger water system and a water heater, because you do have a shower in it and everything. So you get quite a bit more stuff like that. You also get a table that turns into like a second bed or anything like that if you have more than 2 people in there. So that's another like feature like that. There's just lots of little features like that that you do get with a bigger truck camper that just make life a bit easier. Now, a lot of these features you can get on smaller ones too, but that's just going to add to the weight of it. And kind of the idea with having a smaller truck camper is your mobility. A smaller truck camper is going to get to more places than I can. That's just the fact of it. It's just like a Jeep Wrangler is going to get to more places than a full-size Ford F-350. That's just a fact of it. I'm going to finish this inside because it's way too cold. Or at least I'm way too cold. I'm not used to it. I came out here yesterday. I'm from Calgary, where it was like +5 all day. And now I'm out here. There's snow on the ground. The wind's howling. It's cold. You're all probably wondering, Kevin, why'd you come out here? And it's because I'm on my way to a place to go visit friends in the next couple weeks. And I thought, hey, let's go out to Nordegg, see how the weather is. Well, we've seen how the weather is. It's not good. You know what? I still love it. Oh, that is a nice feeling. Walking into your warm truck camper when it's freezing cold outside. Like, honestly, just look at the space in here. Like, I can gladly say that it was the right choice to switch to this camper rather than staying in my old one. My old one, it was great, but this is just a complete new level, and I absolutely love the size of this. It's about perfect for me. It's not too big that I can't go down roads that are a little bit more difficult, but it's also not too small that I feel like I'm missing out on just some comfort level. Which ideally makes this lifestyle a lot easier. If you're someone and you're going to be living in something like this for the foreseeable future, I would definitely say look at something around this size. All right, where were we? So my next point is something I never thought would bother me as much, but it did. And that's going to be tank sizes. And actually this week I kind of dealt with a little bit of drama with that. It's getting colder out and I'm having a harder time finding water. I know what a lot of people are going to say, well, just take your water and just go get water from a jug and then do your dishes with that. No, I don't want to. I got a 4 Seasons camper. I'm just going to gladly have water in the system and enjoy life with running water. There's a lot of people that do it that way, and there's nothing wrong with that. But personally, I'd rather just have running water, so that's what I'm going to do. So I was having issues this week with actually finding water. And that got me thinking. With my old setup, I had about 22 gallons of water on. I now have 36. I could get away with about a week without showering on 22 gallons of water. Now I can shower about 3 times and do about a week and a couple days. But that's with showering 3 times. If I didn't shower in this, I could probably easily get about 2 weeks off of a tank of water. So in that case, I would say that having bigger tanks is a positive, especially if you're in the winter and you're living in it. You can find water. It involves you asking and probably people giving you a look. But as soon as you tell them that you live in it, they're pretty understandable and they'll usually let you buy water off of them. I was just at the Nordegg store here and I was told that the dump station here still had water. When I got out here, obviously it did not. It was frozen. So I went over to the store. I talked to them and they said maybe. I talked to the store owner and he said yes. And then they charged me $5 for the water. I filled up my tank and I was super appreciative of them. Now I guess if I had a smaller rig, I could just bring jugs with me and do it like I said. a lot of people are okay with. You could just do dishes with your water you have on board. And with my first camper, that's how we did it. We just did dishes just like that. We had separate water, and when I need to do dishes, I would just fill the little container there with some water and then do dishes. But honestly, going into winter, I try not to worry too much about finding water. There's about, how many gas stations in a city? Like 1,000. And one of them's going to be bound to give you some water. Also, last year, even when I was on the road for my little bit of time, just on trips and stuff, I still was able to find water places. You just got to be creative, do a little bit of research. It's not too hard. So with a smaller truck camper, you are going to get a much smaller water tank. That's a given. And the reason they're going to be smaller tanks on them is because the trucks that they are supposed to go on are smaller. So with that in mind, they don't want you to basically be over your payload or anything like that. So that's just a given. So I think my last thing to talk about is you're also going to notice there's a lot more options in truck campers for bigger trucks. Trying to find a truck camper for a half-ton truck is really hard. It's not easy. You're either looking at pop-ups or you're looking at really small, specifically made half-ton truck campers. And they are out there. You can get them. Lance makes one. Northern Light makes one. I'm not sure if Bigfoot does. I think they might. But I think it's still heavier and you would want a 3/4 ton at least. Oh, and Cirrus makes one too. I've seen that one. It's small too. But yeah, half-ton truck camper. Now, obviously, there's their pop-ups like 4-wheel camper and everything like that. Or I guess Palomino makes one too. Now, if you get into like the really small trucks, like a 1/4 ton, like your Tacomas, your Ford Rangers, stuff like that, you're definitely going to be shopping for a while. There is not a lot for those. It starts to get really hard to, you don't get much choices for them. And that's why I say your minimum truck should just be a 1-ton truck. It just makes life easier when you're wanting to find something, even if you want a smaller truck camper. But I'm not saying you have to go with one. If you already have a half-ton truck and you're just looking for a truck camper like that, you'll be able to get away with it on a half-ton. And the reason for truck campers being like that and bigger is because they are generally heavy. Once you get into wanting a bathroom and all the amenities like this one, they do start to get heavy, and you add 4 seasons onto it, and yeah, it's not light. It's not as mobile as something like a smaller truck camper, but I find that I can still able to get everywhere I want to with this. I have very, very few times wanted to go somewhere that I was like, no, the truck's too big. There has been times, but not very often. And usually those places I want to get to, I don't even know if I would have took my Jeep Wrangler down there. And that goes to even talking to people that have like 2-wheel drive vans or anything like that. You really have to think about it, like where you're actually going and where you're actually camping at. Are you thinking to yourself, I'll never actually get down to this area if I have something bigger? And it's like, does that mean more to you than having all the amenities while living in it? Or are you okay with just having a bit more mobility and just a bit less stuff? It's up to you. But that's all I got for you guys today. So let me know what you think in the comments. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. And I can't wait to take you guys with me on the next one. Later.